I haven't vlogged in a fat minute. I've literally had so many failed vlogs. A few comments over on my TikTok asking how I parent. And instead of making a video on TikTok talking about it, we're gonna talk about it here. How I parent my kids and how I parented my daughter, parent her now as a former teen mom. So like this has been, obviously as kids grow, you parent them like in different ways because they're getting smarter and they're getting older, etc. I had my first daughter when I was 16 and my second when I was 19, and I actually was asked if I parent them the same since I had the first one at 16, and the answer to that is yes. There are some things I did differently with them as babies, but that's basically it. I've learned a lot since I was 16, but I'd honestly say as I've gotten older, parenting has gotten harder, and that's because my daughter has gotten older. When you have a baby and you're parenting them, all you're doing is taking care of them and keeping them alive, essentially. When you have a toddler and a 4-year-old or whatever, Lakeland's about to be 4, you're not just keeping them alive, you're trying to make them into good people, and that's way harder in my opinion. Obviously babies can be a lot of work, don't get me wrong, but like forming a human and forming their, like basically how they think and teaching them how to be kind and share is a lot harder than just taking care of them. So how I parent Lakeland, I don't know the definition of gentle parenting, guys. It's like not yelling. I'm not a gentle parent. I definitely yell and I have my flaws. I need to yell less, and I recognize that, which is the first step. I get very frustrated, honestly, like sometimes pretty quickly. I'm always gonna be try and be the most authentic I can and try and be completely honest, because I'm no perfect parent. I'm not like gonna sit down and talk things through immediately. If it's something where they're putting themselves in danger, or if my child is literally not listening to me and blatantly ignoring me, like I'm probably gonna get frustrated because we're both human, sort of deal. I've talked a little bit about like my parenting rules and like the things I follow over on my TikTok, but I haven't on here, so I guess we'll just dive right in. Things like there are certain things I don't participate in and things I will not do. Like spanking. I don't allow hitting at all, and it's like a big no-no if you hit. So she goes like straight to timeout. Oh, I guess that was asked. Like what sort of punishment do? We do timeout. We'll take away the TV and say like no TV for the rest of the day. We'll take her lovey. We won't take it at night, and she doesn't even use it during the day. I don't know if this is a bad tactic. I don't know if it is, but like if I'll say like I'll take your lovey and I'll just take it and I'll put it on top of the fridge, but she doesn't even use it during the day anyway, but she still gets really upset about it. And I feel like that works because I don't know if this is bad. Because it's like a form of punishment, and we definitely have punishment, and it comes in the form of going in timeout, which is a corner by our front door, and she can still see everybody. She just doesn't like timeout. I think no kid does, and it's usually the max amount of time is 2 minutes that we've done, I believe. And then what else? Yeah, the TV and all that stuff. I think that's all we've really done. Oh, yesterday, my daughter, she's almost 4, she threw a toy at her sister, she's 10 months old, and like really threw it. And my daughter, she's not violent at all. She was just super overtired and was just like kind of acting kind of cray-cray. And we had already like been through a lot of spells where I'm like, okay, you need to listen to me, but she wasn't listening. I actually come to find out that she was a little emotional at school today and really tired at school as well. So since we started school about a week and a half ago, she dropped her nap and just doesn't nap anymore. And so that's like a huge change. So then I was like, okay, that was my last straw, and I didn't put her in timeout, but I said, you know, why don't you go up to your room? Like, you are in trouble, and I think you need to like go breathe, because you have done a lot of questionable things in like pretty much the last hour. I didn't say this. I said, I need you to go take a break, go find your lovey and suck on your fingers, take a breath and think about what you just did. Because like, I don't know, sometimes I will immediately go and be like, you need to go in timeout, or you're getting the TV taken away because you know that's wrong. But when it's like yesterday, when she had a hard day at school, she was really emotional, really tired, I'm like, okay, she probably just needs to decompress a minute. So I was like, yeah, go to your room and suck on your fingers and just chill. She sucks on her fingers, by the way. And don't come at me for that, because I already asked the pediatrician and he said, just let her. And I'm like, whatever, okay. Her overbite's not that bad. So she went and sucked her fingers. Well, Ryan got home shortly after, and I was trying to like, I was handling Viv and trying to feed her because she wouldn't eat. She's like, has a cold right now, my youngest daughter. And I was in the living room and I was like, Lakeland, she wouldn't answer me. And she had her Tony box going. So I'm like, okay, she's probably just like really deep into thought right now or something. I don't know. So I was like, hey, Ryan, will you go check on Lakeland? Because I was literally feeding Viv, and Viv will not eat if I get up. And so he goes to check on her and she's literally sleeping. So that's why she wasn't answering me, which I just think is so funny. But yeah, she was like super tired yesterday. That's the first time she's fallen asleep, like outside of like nap time in probably years. Outside of like driving in a car as well. But those are just like the sort of punishments I do, I guess. And I do believe in discipline. So that's just what I believe as a parent, to each their own, but that's what I do. Rewards, I try not to reward dessert. I've like tried to not be that way. I really don't want to do that, but the thing is like dessert kind of is a reward. I don't want it to be, like I said, but if I put dessert like on her plate with her food, she will only eat dessert and not eat her food, and I don't want to teach, like I don't know how to get around that, you know? So like she'll ask me like, oh, can I have some ice cream, or can I have this? And I'll say, yeah, after dinner, but like you need to eat most of your dinner. I don't make her eat all of it, but you need to eat most of it. And if it's something that she likes, I will have her eat most of her dinner. If she's full, I'll be like, fine, but like I'm leaving it out. And if you're hungry again, like you will come back and eat some of your dinner, because you're not going to get away with like eating 2 bites of food and, you know, just get junk. Like that's just not going to happen. And I don't know, guys, I really don't know the correct way to approach that. So I mean, if you're wondering, maybe do some research, because I don't know if I'm doing it right. Honestly, I don't think I am, but like I said, that's just what we do. I don't know. I just want to be honest and upfront, like how I parent, because when my mom and dad and everyone around me said we don't get a rule book, man, they're not joking. Like we really don't. And a lot of moms will beat themselves up. I know I'm one of them. I beat myself up on the daily about that I'm not doing things right, and I need to yell less, and I need to get like not get as mad. But I don't know. I mean, I just hope she doesn't hate me when we're older. I do beat myself up a lot over the smallest things, and I'm trying to do better at like all aspects of parenting, because I feel like you can always do better. Like, you know what I mean? You can always do better. Doesn't mean you should beat yourself up about what you're doing, but you can always do better. So that's what I'm trying to do. The girl who asked this question, her follow-up, I believe, was like, what do you do for discipline, essentially? Like, how do you parent? And I'm like, I don't really even know how to answer this, because I know I'm not a gentle parent necessarily. But there are some times when she's really worked up. This is actually recently, because I remember seeing it in Grey's Anatomy, where if she's like really, really upset, like when I'm doing her hair or something, because she's just mad she doesn't want to do her hair, and gets really, really worked up, when I'm done, I will give her like a super, super, super tight hug, and that like calms her down. And I saw it on Grey's Anatomy. I think it is something to do with the nerves, and just being like in a really tight position, like helps your nerves calm down. So yeah, I mean, that's something I do now. That's new though. I remembered that recently. We started handling toddler meltdowns when Lakeland was almost 3. So basically all of 2, we didn't have meltdowns like that, or tantrums. They really started when I was late into my pregnancy with Viv. And it was hard, because there was a few times where she was like kicking me and like all of that, like basically flopping tantrum. And I'm like, I don't even know how to handle this, because I am 9 months pregnant. Like basically when tantrums like that are happening, I leave it alone. I try to talk her through them, but like I just kind of leave it alone. I'm not even gonna interrupt. What am I looking for? I'm not even gonna interrupt that. Lakeland in general, is the average toddler for sure, but like also extremely kind and like pretty well at handling her emotions for a toddler. And I don't want to take all the credit for that. Obviously, she has a lot of influence, and I'll tell you that what's helped my parenting a ton and like trying to do better is Ryan's mom. She's like very calm and handles things really, really well. And so I try to like do what she does. I do try to include Lakeland in things like tasks. I'm not the best at it, but I do want to get better. That's one of the things I want to get better on. And I guess a part of my parenting philosophy is also, when in doubt, just go outside. I'm always outside with the girls, always, because you know what? They like the outside. I don't like the woods and shit. I like to go outdoors, out in my neighborhood. I like to be out there, and it calms them, and they can play and get exercise. Well, right now Viv just hangs out in the stroller, but yeah, I don't know. When in doubt, go outside. It's seriously like the best. I feel good. I go on a walk every single morning with my girls. That started recently once we dropped Viv's nap, and it's seriously been the best thing ever. Starting my morning off with fresh air and walking, and then starting the girls off in the morning with fresh air. Game changer. There we go. Ice bingsu? I don't know. This is like a clear color, I think. There you go. Much better. Very upfront and honest about parts and things and part names. I mean, like private part areas. I talk about the full names, and I'm honest about stuff like periods, like with birth and stuff. I say what it's like, and that she asked, does it hurt? I say yes. Like, I'm just really honest about stuff, because I just feel like obviously there's certain things you shouldn't talk about, like birds and bees, but I don't know. I just feel like it's better to be honest. I mean, if she went to school and said something about like, you know, obviously at this age it might not be great, but like, oh, mom got her period, like, okay. I don't think we should be ashamed about that. It's so normal. And I feel like most 6, 7, 8, 9-year-olds know that like mom has a period, and if they don't, then I don't know why they don't. I don't know. I just will always be honest with my kids. So unless they ask me how babies are made, I will not talk about that yet. That I would say, you say a prayer and boom, you have to be of age. Although I don't know how I'm gonna explain that to my kids, because I got pregnant at 16 and I was not of age. So all right, yep, that's pretty much my philosophy, guys. That is... Ryan just Snapchatted me. Just pretty much how I parent. And what I do is discipline, etc. Because, I don't know. Who knows if I'm doing it right? I don't know. Let me know what you guys do in the comments. And I hope this wasn't too boring for you.